Hello guys. So this is a pre-market analysis of 16th of April and the market is now moving into a very strong bullish continuation phase. But remember, this is being driven more by expectation of peace rather than an actual resolution. So we have seen this in the last week also. And then weekend, the discussions was there in Islamabad and that got failed. And then we have seen a big gap down of almost 600 points, 650 points, and then there was a massive recovery of close to 500 point on that day itself, which was Nifty expiry day on Monday, and then Tuesday was a holiday, and Wednesday we have seen a 350 point gap up, and the market sustained that gap up, which is again very important. Normally, in the last few days, what we have seen is any gap up is getting sold into, but that's not the case. Yesterday, you got a gap up, and that was open low, and that low was not broken, which is a very positive bullish sign. Okay. Now, again, all these are with the expectation of peace rather than the actual resolution, right? But the positives are if you look at the geopolitical situation, it's like pressure is there at the same time hope is there. Both are going on, and US Central Command have confirmed that the full naval blockade has been implemented. Ships are entering and which are exiting Iran are now fully controlled by the US blockade as well. And the last 48 hours, almost 8 ships sent back to Iranian ports as well. So that is there on one side. But at the same time, the hope is also there. And which means when they are controlling means pressure on Iran is still very strong. That's what you can interpret from, sending back 9 ships, which is coming from Iranian ports. But the positive signal is Trump said war is close to over. It's not Iran said, it's not Islamabad said. First of all, Trump said. But secondly, the issue is since it is Trump, we cannot believe also, right? So he also mentioned that there is a possibility of a permanent ceasefire, which may come soon. So far we are talking about 2 weeks ceasefire, and Iran wanted a permanent ceasefire. Permanent ceasefire means something which is huge. Okay, now the sanctions may be lifted, and all those. If permanent ceasefire is there, of course, a sanction on Iran would be lifted, and in that case, Iran will be the happiest country because whatever assets are frozen, they will get it back, and then they will be able to do the international trade in a normal way without any US sanction, and that will definitely enhance their economy. So the White House view as of now is there are negotiations which are going on, which is ongoing, which is very much productive also, and the confidence is that the positivity which is there with respect to a deal prospect at this point of time. So the current ceasefire, if you see, that's still April 22nd, and there are reports which are suggesting that there will be 2 week extension, which is informal extension. So present scenario, if you see, it's peaceful, right? But again, it's all expectation of peace. And the talks update, the talks is likely to resume again in Islamabad, maybe in next couple of days. Uh, Possible location is the same, Islamabad and Pakistan. So the current status is actually Pakistan Army Chief went to Iran also for some discussion. So if you see the present situation, on one side, US blockade is there at the Iranian ports and Strait of Hormuz, which impose some pressure on Iran. But at the same time, there is a good hope also prevailing in the market because of these peace talks, which is again related to the permanent ceasefire. And because of that, US market, we have seen strong momentum. And in the last 10 sessions, every day it's like 2%, 1%, 2%, 1%. And last 10 session, it's almost 14% up NASDAQ, if you see. And that's the highest streak since 2021. We also almost witnessed from 20,200 to 24,400 level. So that is almost again a 10%. That's again massive. Okay. So if you look at yesterday's US market closing basis, Dow Jones is slightly negative, but that we cannot consider that you can ignore. 0.15%. S&P is positive 0.8, close to 1, and Nasdaq is 1.6% up. VIX have fallen 1%, and now it's around 18, which is very normal. There is low fear, there is a stable sentiment. So that is again looking good for the market. And GIFT Nifty is indicating 24 330 level. Okay, so which means we are going to get gap up, maybe 100 point, 70 point gap up is what we are going to get. So yesterday we got a big gap up, it sustained, that low is not broken. Today we are going to get further gap up. So let's see whether it is going to sustain or not, or maybe expiry play, some dip you will get. And most importantly, Guys, if you want to get a gamma blast, yesterday's low, the moment it is going to break that, we'll be getting a good dip on the downside. So that's the one which you need to try to capitalize, not on the upside. I'm not in favor of chasing this move on the upside, but if we get an opportunity as an option buyer, then if yesterday's low, that was open low, if that is broken, that is where you're going to get opportunity. If you look at ADR's mixed signal, Infosys and ICICI is positive, Reliance and HDFC is negative. So there is no clear fresh directional signal. Oil price, Brent crude is 95 and WTI is 91, which is again looking very stable below the psychological level. That is again positive for the market. So, yeah, good things. And again, FIA is bought yesterday. That is less 650 crore, but symbolically it is positive. So earlier it was continuous selling of almost 28, 29 days, but now at least they stopped selling and they bought something. And that's why yesterday the open low is not taken out. Many would have thought afternoon FIIs may come and sell and they might have taken the short position, but they actually bought. But DIA surprisingly have sold for 550 crore. So, they were buying, they were absorbing the pressure so far. Now, if IA started buying, maybe DIAs will start selling and they also need to book the profit, right? So if you see call side open interest added is 21, put side also 21%. So the PCR remain unchanged, which is 1.08, which is indicating again bullishness. If you look at participant positioning on the option side, retailers are 16% bullish, FIA is 15% bearish, but that is reduced from 18%, which is again positive. Prop traders are 2% bearish from slightly positive to bearish. Now, if you look at the futures, FIAs 79% short, prop traders, they shifted from 51% long to 51% short. Retailers, again, 73% long. So if you see the smart money are still cautious, right? So it's a Sensex expiry. Be very careful today. Technicals I've already discussed yesterday, so there is no point in discussing. If you look at the call open interest, maximum is at 24,200 now, which is a straddle, and then 24,500, and then shifted to 24,800 also. That's the safe players, that's the strangle players. So we are not much concerned about that. But for the range that we can consider, so the range could be 23,500 to 24,500. An extended range could be 24,800 if that level is broken. Put side, it's maximum 24,200, which is again the straddle players, right? Followed by, you can see 23,500 and even 24,000. So the range we are looking for maybe a couple of weeks will be 23,500 to 24,500 level, or on a upside is what we are looking for, bullish buys. Okay. So see, market bullish continuation is what we can expect, but 24,300 to 500 level is a very important resistance, because 26,300 all-time high came to 22,200, 4,100 point dip, now 2,100, which is half. Fibonacci retracement of 50% has been covered. So this level where there is a gap also, 24,500 to 24,300, unless that gap is filled, it can be a strong resistance area. Once 24,500 is broken, this bullish momentum can continue till all-time high and even further also. So oil is below 100, which is very positive. US market is strong, which is very positive. And we are looking for a gap up of 50 points. Now, yesterday's low was broken. That is where you'll be getting a selling opportunity. Otherwise, be very careful with the market. So don't chase this rally also, right? Because you are at a resistance level. Be very careful. Sensex expiry. If you would like to trade with us in the live market, we have the live market mentoring program. Get in touch with us. I shared the details in the description. See you there.